Hey guys, Pedro here to tell you about the latest from Big Wreck Pages. This EP will be out November 24th on Sonic Union Records. It has 6 songs, 33 minutes in length, and it's the band's 5th EP. They are a Canadian rock band. Now, this is not just any EP, and it feels more like a full-length record when you actually look at it, when you listen to it. There's a journey, there's a path here, there's a beginning, middle, and end. It's really easy to see the versatility of the songs and the diversity of the songs, but it's equally easy to see the dots that connect these tracks together that allow the overall experience to be very cohesive, something you normally don't get in an EP unless there's a concept behind it. It's normally songs that didn't make the cut anywhere else. You mix in some live tracks with some studio tracks with maybe a cover. EPs tend to be very versatile from that standpoint. This is a very different case, and this is a very different outcome. I enjoy it because it allowed me to feel like I was listening to a brand new Big Wreck full-length record, but just a shorter experience, which adds then playability to it as well. Because when you get to the end, 33 minutes, man, that's really short. I'm ready to go back again to the start. And having a sense of beginning, middle, and end helps that full circle perspective that this record offers, that sense of continuing the experience, going back to the beginning. Once again, constructing an EP more as an album with great quality songs, with a great design that enhances that same quality within the songs themselves. Now, as far as those songs are concerned, I want to start off by talking about In Fair Lies. This is the opening track on the EP, and I love this opening track, specifically when it comes to the intro. It has a synth intro, a little bit of an 80s vibe, and there's a lot of synths throughout these 6 songs. But having this as the intro works really well. First of all, it works as the intro, not just to the song, which has a nice build-up because of it, but it works as the intro to the entire release. So it kills 2 birds with 1 stone, and I like the fact that they didn't separate this as a different track. They kept it as part of the opening song. They kept it as part of In Fair Lights, because this will work really well for the listener that's going from first to last, but it's also going to work really well for the listener that's going to listen to this record on a streaming platform, and you may just catching a song here and there. If you separate the two, then you're really taking something away from the song, and you're not giving visibility to that intro at the end of the day. So I like this design, I like this approach, and I like the fact that the song progresses, it builds up, has a really great warm bass sound, and allows itself to have more of an open sound when it comes to the verses, and then a little bit more melodic sound when it comes to the chorus. The vocals really soar in that chorus. It has a very dynamic nature to it. You can see the darker side of the track, and you can see the brighter side of the track. Even though the verses are open, they have some darkness to them. So I really enjoy this experience, this ebb and flow from verses to chorus that makes the song feel very fluid, very dynamic. And then having that synth glazed sound all over from the beginning, from that intro to building it into a layer of the track to disappearing at certain points and then coming back again. But it allows the track to never lose that atmosphere, never lose that essence. Right after comes Bail Out. This is the heaviest track on this record. There's no shadow of a doubt. First of all, vocally very dynamic. You get almost like 3 to 4 different vocal approaches as you progress. 3 of them just in the verses, and then a slightly different take when it comes into the chorus. Using a little bit of the electronic sound on this track, not just in the sound itself, but in order to impact the vocals and have the vocals come across almost like industrial. But that also adds to the overall heaviness of the track. That also adds to the overall volume that the song has. Really thick, specifically in the verses. It's a song that really packs a lot of meat in the verses, and then the choruses are more melodic and a lot brighter, which allows the track to have this nice ebb and flow, then moves into a more heavy, almost industrial sound, into a more hard rock sound in that chorus, making the song super engaging from start to finish. And like I said, the heaviest track of them all. Right after that, we have Summerlong. Now, another song that pushes the synths forward, but this time the synths have a different atmosphere that In Fair Lights. The synths on this track bring in a summer vibe to it, matching the title of the track perfectly. There's a summer breeze, or maybe an end of summer, beginning of fall experience when it comes to the synth sound on this track. Very 80s influenced, and I love that. I love that almost teenage movie soundtrack, 80s end of summer, beginning of fall style and feel to the way they come across. The chorus is super layered vocally, that also adds a different energy. It adds a different vibe. And then you have this synth rock song with an 80s nostalgia coming in through the verses, but really catapulting itself in that chorus. So it's a really interesting track, using a similar element, which is the synths that we've seen in the previous two songs, but now with a different outcome and definitely with a different atmosphere. Next comes Weightless, and Weightless introduces an acoustic guitar sound that works really well in the context of the record, but also in the context of the song. It allows you to feel like the vocals have a little bit more presence. It allows you to feel like the vocals are a little bit more exposed, giving the overall sound a more organic vibe, but giving the vocals a little bit more of a standout ground. Almost like a Beatles style song in terms of how he uses the sound to create a backdrop that allows the vocals to take center stage. This song has a lot of that in it. It still has the Big Wreck DNA in it, but it has a very distinct nature to it because of the acoustic sound, how stripped down it is, how organic it feels, and then how much of the vocals jump into the forefront and become the main protagonist in this story. Next we have White Lies. This is a great rock song from beginning to end. I love how the vocals take charge, but they don't take charge and leave the guitars behind. The guitars are coming along for the journey, and the guitars have room to breathe, room to shine, room to rock. It's not necessarily a heavy song, definitely not a song like Bail Out. Bail Out is the heaviest track on this record. This song has a heavy guitar influence in it, but it's not a heavy song. It's just a great track rock-wise. The guitars really shine, like I said, a lot of room to breathe. And then you have a great combo of bass and drum. The bass and drum on this song sound phenomenal. Great texture, super warm. Both of them popping in and out, alternating on who takes a little bit of the front lead on it, but really creating the overall heartbeat of the song itself. Last but definitely not least, Bird of Paradise. This is an interesting song for me because I felt like it was a catch-all track. And what I mean by that is that if you're listening to this EP and you get to this closing song, you're going to see elements that you saw throughout the entire EP coming together in one single track. You're going to find the synth sound, that 80s vibe that you saw in Fair Lights, that you saw throughout the entire record. It's going to be also present here, specifically at the intro. Same thing as you saw in Fair Lights, that synth intro comes back again, not as long, not as deep in this song, but it's there nevertheless. So you start to see it there, you start to see that impact there. Then you have the acoustic guitars coming in the way they were in Weightless, not as impactful as they were in Weightless, but they're there nevertheless. And then you have the overall rock song design, feel, execution, delivery that we saw in White Lies. So it's a track that really has a little bit of everything. All the previous 5 songs, they took pieces of those 5 songs and then they created this Frankenstein monster as the closing track, which I think it's a perfect song, not just because it becomes the conclusion and encapsulates everything that took you to that point. It also has a great way of finishing this part of the journey. This path comes to an end. It started off really well with a very defined beginning, and it gets to the closing destination with a very well-defined ending. I really enjoyed this record. I really enjoyed this EP. To me, feels more like a record than an EP because of how it's put together and in terms of how it is delivered. This is it, Big Wreck, Pages, out November 24th on Sonic Union Records. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Hit me up in the comment section. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.